Welcome to Extraterrestrial Reality. We have several different things to go over in today's episode. Later on, we're going to talk about the new whistleblower, Jake Barber. He made comments last week with regard to the drones. He says that the new president, Donald Trump, was lied to about them. We'll talk about that. Also, we're going to talk about an incident that happened in 1979, the Detchmont Woods incident in Scotland. There's a new story with regard to that. Investigator Malcolm Robinson is upset because he tried to donate the pants worn by Robert Taylor, who was attacked by these weird objects that came rolling out of a UFO that he saw in the woods back in Detchmont back in 1979. He tried to donate them to a museum in Scotland, and they refused. We'll talk about that later. And also, we have a new installment of my new segment called Cornfield of Pure Idiocy. There's someone has stepped up to the plate, completely stupid, and now they're going to be thrown into the cornfield of pure idiocy forever. We'll talk about that later as well. But first, I want to talk about something I received from one of my listeners, and this was we're going to call this person John. He doesn't want to have his name used, but anyway, this person is from Woodstock, Ontario, in Canada, and this was an incident that happened in 2022, and he actually caught a little bit of it on video, 3 seconds worth. That's all we got, and I'm going to pull it up on the screen right now. It's only a 3-second video. Check this out.
That red light?
No.
Oh, up there.
Now here it is again. No. See right here, he's talking about there's an object in the sky right there. He said it looked it was some sort of a UFO that was floating over fields, over farmland in Woodstock, Ontario, in Canada. And anyway, this was I'm going to go get into the email that he sent me, the message where he describes what happened. And he said it was unfortunate. He only got 3 seconds of the video, and this is what he said about that. He says, "Unfortunately, this is the longest clip I took. It was very dark and the quality is not very good. I decided to stop recording and look at the object myself." And we'll take a look at that object again later after we get done reading this. I slowed it down and we could take a better look at it. But anyway, he writes, "It was a late August night. My wife and myself were on our way back from seeing my mother. For context, she lives approximately 15 minutes from us and on the border of a new subdivision and rural fields. It was roughly about 9:45 in the evening and we were headed back home. I was looking out the window. I was driving. I could see a disc-like object hovering in the field next to the road. I quickly pulled over and asked my wife to confirm if she is seeing the same thing I was. We sat there for 3 to 4 minutes looking at the object just hovering over the field, moving slowly and dead silent toward a small row of homes along the main road. She confirmed that she could see it and it was indeed there. As I turned to look at it through my window, I opened the door. I looked for cars incoming, but it was clear. I stood in the middle of the road along with my wife, staring at this disc-like object moving slowly toward the homes. There was a set of trees on the corner of the one house property and the disc was slowly moving behind them. We could barely make it out, so we decided to get into the car and drive up to see if we could cut it off and get a better look. When we pulled up ahead and got out, the object was gone. We didn't see it fly away or anything. It was simply gone. The object was clearly a disc-like object, like two plates put together, but there was a section between the top and bottom where we could see translucent windows or glass which wrapped around the entire object. We could also see a low glow of light coming from the windows. It wasn't a bright light, but a very dim light. I made an official report to my local MUFON chapter and I was followed up by an investigator. I submitted a bunch of information and sent them the video. They followed up a couple of weeks later, concluding it was unidentifiable and there was something of not human origin. I never got their edited videos, but would like to see if there is indeed a better view of the object. Over the last couple of years, I have continued to experience these objects in the sky. Some are just unexplainable and odd. One of these sightings was from the Victoria London Hospital when I went to visit my dad in the hospital. There was a German couple next to my dad and they saw the object as well. It was a fast-moving, small, round object in what looked like a translucent cube. I was in shock. My wife also saw from the window along with the German couple. We were all astonished. That's about it. I hope it helps only confirm what your suspicions have been the whole time. They are indeed real and they are indeed amongst us. Kind regards, John. Well, that's a pseudonym. But I want to say thank you to John for sending this to us. This is an image here. Here's an image here from This was a drawing that from Betty and Barney Hill case that Barney Hill had drawn, and this is what it looked like. The object had windows around it. Maybe this is something similar to what John and his wife saw in Ontario, in Woodstock, Ontario, back in 2022, August of 2022. That's what it looks like. But anyway, I mean that's similar to what it looks like. I think. I mean, the thing that Betty and Barney Hill saw was something like that. It was circular, like this, round, like a saucer, but there were windows along the middle of it, just like what John has described here. And he also sent me this image right here. You could check this picture out. This is what he said. He found this online somewhere, and he said this is what it looked like to him. And then let's get back to this. I was unable really to get a lot out of this. Well, let's watch the video again here. I do slow it down and I brightened it. We'll check that out in a second. Like here, you can see this object right here. This is the live, and then you can see just moving off. And now I have it slowed down here. This is a slowed down and brightened version of the video that he sent. It's really hard to see it, but you can see something's there. You can see I'm just pausing it here. It's right in this area right here. There was something there, and it looks like it's moving. I mean, you could actually might even be able to see the windows there a little bit, like he was talking about on the side. Look at it. Very strange. I'm going to play it out here. There, and then it just moves off. You can see it moving away. That's unfortunate that he didn't get more than that, but that's all we got.
No.
Okay, here's that version again, the slowed down version. I'll just let it play out, and then we'll go back and look at it closer here again. Yeah, you can see something there moving. Something definitely in the sky.
Is that red light?
No. Very strange. Okay. Let it play out so we could see it better. It's really hard to see it. I mean, it was pitch dark, obviously. But you can see something there hanging in the sky, and then it just starts moving away, it looks like. Anyway, yeah, he also sent me some images here of where the area had happened, where it happened. And this is a map, an above map from Google Earth. You could see pointing straight down. This is the field where it happened, where they saw it. Here's another image here. You can see the where he filmed it, but this is in the daytime, so the object would have been hovering up here someplace. Here's another. He circled the area here from Google Earth, and there's the highway where they saw it. All along this highway, he has a circle there where it was, and there another circle around the area where he saw it. So I thought that was very interesting. Yeah, I mean, these things are all over the place. People are seeing them all the time. So I think a lot of times people drive right by them and don't see them. I think that's one of the other things that happens. We don't usually talk about that, but I think a lot of people could have potential UFO encounters if they just were to look at the right spot at the right time. I think these things are all over the place, and they're up to something. What are they doing? What were they doing floating over? According to John here, he said that this object was moving toward this row of homes. I wonder if anyone was affected in those homes that night. You know, you hear people like Richard Dolan talk about that there's UFOs seen hovering over people's houses in the black of night sometimes. What's going on with that? Why are they doing that? Are people getting abducted? Is that what was going on that night? Some people were just about to get abducted, or maybe returned after an abduction. I mean, who knows? But obviously, these things are up there in the sky, and they're very secretive. They don't want anyone to know about them. And here's another incident. We have a little bit of proof to go along with it, a little bit of evidence. You see something in the night sky there in this video. What is it? I think it's what they say it was. It was something that's beyond beyond our science. That's what it is. I mean, here I'm doing the slowed down video again to look at it. I'm going to pause it here when we get to it. There it is. You see it. There's something there in the sky behind the wires. Look at that. MUFON. He said they sent it to MUFON. MUFON says recognize that there was something there. But that's about it. What else could you do? There's not much else you could do except acknowledge it and say, here's another incident where people saw something and we have no explanation about what it was doing there or why it was there, who's operating it. Obviously, there's an intelligence here among us that has technology that exceeds anything that we have. That's the bottom line. Okay, moving on. I want to talk about there was an article that was reported last week about Jake Barber saying that President Trump was lied to about those drones. Here's an article from Futurism from a few days ago. It says, UFO whistleblower claims Trump is being lied to about those drones in New Jersey. Someone is not presenting the whole story to our new president. And that's a comment directly from Jake Barber, who, as we know, is the person who was recently interviewed by Ross Coulthart and claims that he was part of a recovery operation of UFOs, UAP, non-human intelligent craft. That's what he says. And anyway, he says this. He says, here's the article. Here's what the article says. It says, Donald Trump's White House insists that the strange drones seen flying over New Jersey were approved by the government, but a UFO whistleblower is calling bull. Anyway, it says, days before his inauguration, Trump vowed to uncover the truth about the massive mystery drones that were allegedly seen flying all over the Garden State, including near the golf course he owns in Bedminster, New Jersey. Just a week in, he seemingly kept good on that promise by having his inept press secretary, Carolyn Levitt, tell the public that there was nothing to see in the skies. After research and study, the drones that were flying over New Jersey in large numbers were authorized to be flown by the Federal Aviation Administration, Levitt said during a briefing earlier in the week. This information comes directly from the President of the United States. Beyond its dismal sentence structure, the statement left much to be desired, including who did the research and study and whether that included similar drones seen flying in New York and elsewhere. Yeah, I like to know. A lot of us, I was questioning that too. I mean, that's all we got. Oh yeah, it was for research and study. Well, of what? We didn't get that answer. Dissatisfied with the White House's non-explanation, a user on X reached out to an Air Force veteran turned UFO whistleblower named Jake Barber to ask for his thoughts. The activity there was not FAA approved. I know firsthand, Barber wrote. I was assigned there specifically to look at the debacle from an FAA violation standpoint in order to give a basis to the FBI. Someone is not presenting the whole story to our new president, the whistleblower continued. Well, let me just stop right there. I'll leave the links for this article so you can check it out for yourself. Here's what I got to say about this. Presidents have to know. Trump, Biden, every president, Obama, they know something. They were told something. Let me just say, sometimes I trick myself into thinking that presidents know nothing, that they're not given anything about this. They have to be given something about this. Trump knows something about it. He was president for 4 years before. Biden was president for the last 4 years. He walked away from questions about this. He never addressed it. None of these guys ever address this situation properly, but they know something. I know Obama knows something. The Bushes knew something. They all know something. They all know. They're all lying. They're told something. Whatever they're told, they have some sort of a fear is also instilled into them to never reveal this for whatever reason, right? They're told something. They are definitely told something, because if you're the president of the United States, the strongest country, most powerful country in the world, and you're not told about this, come on. These people all of them are lying. Biden lied, Trump lied, every single president over the last since 1947 has been lying about this. They have to know something. They are told something. Don't fool yourself. Trump knows something. I mean, obviously he has to know. He was president for 4 years before. Now he's president again. He has to know something about this. What if something were to happen involving these aliens, right? What if all of a sudden we were attacked and the president knew nothing about it beforehand? Like, how's he supposed to respond then? No. They know something, right? They know something. And he probably knows something about this drones. They didn't give us all the information. They're lying to us. They're constantly lying to us. They're probably the fear of God is probably put in all these presidents. If you tell this, it's going to cause chaos. That's something to that effect. Something is being told to presidents that if they're told something, maybe not everything, right? But they are definitely told about this reality. There's no question about it in my mind. We have evidence now that we are not alone, as we've been talking about all the time on this podcast, right? We have the evidence now. And you're going to tell me that a president doesn't know about this, right? That they're not informed anything at all about this? All of these guys are. And when you hear them talking about it, when they say they don't know anything, they cannot say it, because whatever they were told is top secret. And that means they got to act stupid when they're talking to the public. When you hear Obama saying, yeah, he tried, or Bill Clinton, oh yeah, I tried to get something, it's all BS. They know, they have to know something, right? They're not going to be totally unaware of what's going on with this phenomenon. There's no way that's possible. Presidents have to know, and they know. For Trump definitely knows something, and he knew it before when he was president before. Biden knew. All of these guys knew. Bush, the two Bushes, all of them, all of these guys, all of them. Now, some people will say that the reason that JFK, one of the reasons anyway, that he was assassinated was because he wanted to reveal the truth about this. Maybe that's true. Maybe it's not. We really don't know. But it's possible. But I'm sure that he knew too. All of these guys knew. There's no doubt about it. They have to know something. They cannot. There's no way that a president of the United States would be kept completely in the dark about this phenomenon. There's just no way. So I don't believe. Whenever I hear a statement like this, what the Trump's office said recently about the drones, that's nonsense. They know more than this. He knows more than this. They all do. They've been lying, and they continue to lie about it. That's the bottom line. That's the truth of the situation. Okay, moving on. Now it's time to talk about the Detchmont Woods incident. Now here is an article from February 1st that was in the Scottish Sun. It says here, truth is out there. UFO hunter slams Scots museum bosses over rejecting bizarre exhibit. The pants are connected to Scotland's most famous UFO incident, which was subject to a police probe. Now, I've talked about this story many, many times on this podcast. I think it's definitely one of the best. I'd have to say top 10 here, because you do have some evidence when somebody was attacked by one of the objects, and there was evidence. There was physical evidence left behind, marks in the ground by these objects. Anyway, it says here, the article reads, an alien hunter last night slammed the museum bosses for snubbing the chance to publicly display trousers ripped during Scotland's most famous UFO incident. Paranormal investigator Malcolm Robinson said he offered to donate the iconic pants worn by believer Bob Taylor, but was turned down. Well, I think it's not Bob Taylor was not a believer. Bob Taylor was someone who had an experience, and he had the damage to his personal body to prove it. Anyway, it says here, late forestry worker Bob reputedly saw mysterious dome-shaped objects land in a clearing at Detchmont Woods, West Lothian in 1979. Okay, whoever wrote this article for The Sun didn't do a good job, because they're saying he reputedly saw mysterious dome-shaped objects land in a clearing. No, he saw the object that was landed. It was sitting there, right? According to the teetotal churchgoer, metal spikes then dropped down and attached themselves to his trousers. No, that's not what happened. No, these spiked balls came rolling from this object that was on the ground and then came up to him and attached themselves to him, and then he passed out. He later woke in a disheveled state before going to cops. Baffled investigators were unable to establish what caused unusual marks seen on the ground. Detectives bagged up Bob's torn trousers as they probed whether he had been assaulted. They were later given to the British UFO Research Association before being passed to Mr. Robinson. Respected war hero Bob continued to maintain he had been attacked by a spaceship thing until his death aged 88 in 2007. And Mr. Robinson hopes evidence of the mysterious episode can be preserved for future generations despite museum chief's reluctance. He insisted this is not any old pair of trousers. They are part of Scotland's biggest ever UFO story. On that, I have to agree with Mr. Robinson for sure. He goes on, he says, a full-blown police investigation was carried out, including a forensic examination of the ripped trousers. It might sound bizarre to some, but this is an iconic piece of Scottish history which rightly deserves its place in a museum. Obviously, yes, it does. It most certainly does. It's one of the most famous cases of all time. How could it not be included in the museum? I can't understand why they would turn it down. He explained, Mr. Robinson said he has taken the trousers on exhibition tours and claimed to have turned down cash offers for them. He explained, I've been offered thousands of pounds by an American businessman, but I have refused. I wanted to donate these trousers to the National Museum of Scotland. Sadly, they refused. I'm very disappointed. Bob said officials had apologized via email and said they already had similar material. A National Museum's Scotland spokesman last night said this was a mistake, but explained, we are offered objects as donations to the National Collection all the time. We don't have space or capacity to accept them all. Well, unfortunately, this is one that you should have accepted because this is one of the most incredible stories of all in the UFO literature. There's no question about it. Let's see. Actually, here was an article, and I've talked about this article before. This is from the BBC back in 2019. The UFO sighting investigated by the police. When forestry worker Robert Taylor reported seeing an alien spaceship in woods near Livingston 40 years ago, it made headlines around the world. The Detchmont Woods incident is unusual among reported UFO sightings in that it was investigated by the police. They treated the rips to Mr. Taylor's trousers as evidence of an assault, but could never quite work out what had happened to him. In his testimony to the police, the 61-year-old described how he saw a 30-foot-high dome-shaped object in a clearing in the forest near the West Lothian New Town on 9 November 1979. He told how two spiked spheres then rolled out toward him, and as he passed out, he was aware of being grabbed on either side of his legs. Mr. Taylor woke up in a disheveled state 20 minutes later. Mr. Taylor, who died in 2007, was a respected war hero and a teetotal churchgoer. No one doubted that he was sincere in what he believed he had seen, and throughout the rest of his life, he had never deviated from his story. He told police he had been working alone checking fences and gates at Detchmont Woods at 10:30 when he came across the spaceship in a clearing. After the spiked objects rushed out and tried to grab hold of him, all he could remember was a strong smell of burning. When he came to, the clearing was empty, apart from a pattern of deep, regular marks on the ground. He went to his van, but was so shaken he drove it into a ditch and had to stagger home in a dazed condition. When he got to his house, he told his wife Mary he had been attacked by a spaceship thing. Because Mr. Taylor was in such a state, the police were called and officers found themselves inquiring into an assault on a forester by alien beings. Detective Con Ian Wark, the scene of crime investigator, arrived at the clearing to find a large gathering of police officers were already there. He told the BBC he saw strange marks on the ground. There were about 32 holes, which were about 3.5 inches in diameter, as well as marks similar to those made by the type of caterpillar tracks often fitted on bulldozers. So, as you can see, this story comes with physical trace evidence. These things left marks in the ground, but it looked like they just flew away, as if it landed and then took off. The marks were localized to the area that Taylor had said he had his experience. The officer went to Mr. Taylor's employer, Livingston Development Corporation, to see if the machinery they had could solve the mystery. After examining every piece of machinery they had up there, we did not find anything to match, he said. The police officer said that the unusual marks on the ground were only to be found in the clearing where Mr. Taylor had experienced his reported close encounter. These marks just arrived, Detective Conwark said. They did not come from anywhere or go anywhere. They just arrived as though a helicopter or something had landed from the sky. The police report from the time said the marks on the ground indicated an object of several tons had stood there, but there was nothing to show that it had been driven or towed away. Now, could you imagine? Let's just stop here for again. Now, you're hearing this story, and I know a lot of you have probably heard it before, but this is most certainly one of the most incredible cases ever. I mean, the guy, there was marks in the ground. His trousers were torn up. He was all in a disheveled state after it happened. The guy was a teetotaler. He never drank, right? Everyone believed him. He was a nice guy, and he maintained that story. He maintained the story was true all the way until he died in 2007. But yet, for some reason, the Scottish museums don't want to display his trousers. They have no room for one pair of pants, right? A little placard. I mean, you can't even fit that in there. Unbelievable. And again, Malcolm Robinson, he's turned down money over this. Like he thinks it should be on display in museums. He was going to donate it, and the museum turned it down. Incredible. I guess the people in charge there, they don't like this subject too much for whatever reason. P.C. William Douglas wrote, there appeared to be no rational explanation for these marks. Well, you know what? There was a rational explanation. There was some sort of an object that was manufactured and operated by a non-human intelligence that's definitely superior when it comes to technology. That's what it was. That's the rational explanation, because there is something here. And people need to start waking up to this reality instead of pretending it's not real. Right? That's what needs to happen. Anyway, as part of the police investigation, Mr. Taylor's ripped trousers were sent for a forensic examination, but this was many years before modern DNA techniques, so analysis concentrated on how the damage had been done. Police forensics said the trousers seemed to have been damaged by something hooking them and moving up. The trousers are now in possession of Malcolm Robinson, a ufologist who has been investigating such cases since the Ditchmont incident. And there's more to this article. Of course, like as I always do, I'll leave links to everything so you can check it all out for yourself. Okay, now finally, we're going to talk about a comment that I received, and this was for an episode from about a week and a half ago called "Meltdown on X Over Vegas Alien Evidence." Of course, that episode I was talking about how John Greenwald of the Black Vault responded. But anyway, I received, when I receive comments like that are like exceptionally stupid, and I just can't see any way forward after that, then I have to get rid of the person. Like I have to block that person from ever commenting on my channel again. Now the first one that occurred on YouTube, or excuse me, the first one occurred on Spotify. This new one, this occurred on YouTube. And here is the comment, and it was from somebody named Chasing Liberty. And the person writes, "I don't see how you can say that video proves anything! Exclamation point. Obviously, this person is dumb. Obviously, this person doesn't know how to do any sort of research into anything. I don't know. I don't understand how this person doesn't understand this. Like, okay, you have multiple people see object fall from sky. Object is caught on multiple video sources, right? Video camera sources, multiple, right? Three witnesses, 2 witnesses saw the object land in this backyard. 3 of them saw the beings in the backyard. They filmed the beings in the backyard, right? I don't know what else you could want. We see the beings in the video. I don't know what else anybody could want. I don't see how you can say that video proves anything. Yes, it does. It proves everything, right? The video is part, and not such as the video, it's the totality of the evidence. The video is just part of it. It's everything else. It's the police reports. It's everything. Right? But this person doesn't see that. He doesn't see how I could say that. Well, what do you mean you don't see how I could say it? I've seen the aliens. I pointed them out to you. Right? But you know what? This like I talked recently with Scott Roeder. This is getting suppressed, folks. I'm just telling you right now. There's efforts out there to suppress this story because most people out there that see this, right, they realize that this proves it, right? This proves this reality that we're not alone. But we get dumb comments like this. I don't know who this person is. This is just could be just some floating dunce that just happens into people's YouTube channels and leaves dumb comments all the time. I have no idea, but this is the last time. Chasing Liberty is going to be getting kicked out. So here we go. This is the latest installment of Cornfield of Pure Idiocy, and say goodbye to Chasing Liberty. Here you go.
Chasing Liberty. For exhibiting genuine laziness coupled with rank stupidity, you are hereby banished to the Cornfield of Pure Idiocy forever.
Farewell. This is what I'm talking about. I don't mind. You get trolls sometimes, and but sometimes the comments they reach a different plateau. Like this comment here is reaching rare stupidity. It's a rarefied level of stupidity, and that when I see those, people could leave really dumb comments, and that's fine, right? Sometimes you just look at it and just let it go. Sometimes you have to block them because they're beyond. Someone's just trolling you, right? So you just end it. But then sometimes you could see this. The stupidity is just flowing out of the comment itself. Right, the laziness, the idiocy is just. So I have to get rid of that person. That person can't comment on here no more. There's no place for you here. Go to Reddit. There's a whole bunch of dummies all over UFO, particularly UFO Reddit. It's loaded with dummies. You're gonna fit right in over there. Let me tell you. That's John Greenwald's territory. Or Twitter. Hang out with John Greenwald. He's a dope too, right? When it comes to this, total dope, right? Anyway. I just want to say thank you all for joining me today. Until next time.